Welcome to Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin, the show where comedy meets conversation. Get ready for a ride full of laughs, stories from the stage, and possibly a few surprises. And now, here's your host, John Malkin.
We are live. Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin. That is me. I am John Malkin, and we have a really, really cool show today. Now, normally I interview comics because that's Sit Down Stand Up. It's a comedy show. But today we have a really special guest from the great state of Maine, and it's a blues band called CRYIN OUT LOUD. And I figured, what better way to talk about comedy than to bring in a blues band, because blues is freaking funny, man. When I hear blues, I just start cracking up. Because it's just hilarious stuff, man. It's all happy and upbeat. But so today on the set, we've got Brandon Stallard, got it. And we've got Matt Henley.
That's
no
me.
relation to Don.
No, but named after him.
Matt, right.
That's me. Exactly.
Right. And Ben Shoot.
That's correct.
I love it. Welcome, guys.
Happy to be
yes.
here.
Our producer wants you guys to get to the mic. Did you guys know anything about microphones and things like
You know,
that?
I've used them a little bit, but
You have used them a bit.
a little bit.
So the band is CRYIN OUT LOUD. You're out of Maine, and you're a incredible blues band, and you have a new album out called
Play Loud and Smoke Often.
Play Loud and Smoke Often. Now, okay, so I was reading an article, Brandon. Now, Brandon, you're the lead guitarist and vocalist, correct?
Ben's, I would say, lead guitar. I'm
lead
guitar and vocals.
Your guitar and vocals, okay. Ben is lead guitar. Do you also do vocals too?
No, not at all. It's my
So
first time with a mic.
They don't give you a microphone, huh?
No.
Okay. And then, Matt, you're a keyboardist.
I am.
Do you sing as well?
With my other band, we've only been together for a couple of months. So
Okay.
We'll.
He will.
He will.
It's yeah.
I have, and we've talked about maybe down the road working on adding me in.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I was reading an article, Brandon, that you were in, and it says you appreciate the finest quality in three things: cigars, whiskey, and the blues. In that order?
Let me think about that. Cigars, whiskey. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to set the table before you eat, right?
Yeah.
You want your cigar and your whiskey, and then you turn on some tunes.
Now,
right?
now you're originally from Virginia,
Right.
And then you worked your way up to Maine because you took a wrong turn, or what was your problem?
Vacation, and then
It's beautiful up there,
it's
don't get me
beautiful.
wrong, yeah.
It's vacation land, right? And I went
Right.
on vacation and literally just didn't go home.
You went up there and never came back.
We're done.
Good for
this
you.
This is where we're at now.
I love it. And your wife agreed to that too?
Well, she actually is the one. She got a great job up there. And
excellent.
It was a really good job, a really good opportunity. And I told her, I said, "Look, man, I was born and raised in Virginia,
Right.
And I said, well, I'm gonna come up here, and I'm gonna leave everything I've ever known.
Right.
My only condition is I'm gonna smoke cigars and play the blues
And drink whiskey.
and drink whiskey.
Yeah.
Right.
And she said, cool.
She said, "Cool, go for it."
Good
So
for
that's
you.
what I did. And now we got an album called Play Loud and Smoke Often.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about this album, because it was produced by a guy. So we do this show out of Factory Underground Studio in Norwalk, Connecticut, and there's a guy who was the producer of your album, Paul Nelson, who unfortunately passed away not too long ago. Very sad, but he was a big client and big supporter, and a big friend of everyone here at the studio. How did you get involved with Paul Nelson? Because he's an amazing blues guy. Was, I should say.
I mean, I was kind of through a friend of ours, a somewhat mutual friend, a huge blues fan, and a booker, and a guy who had a venue that knew Paul as well. And we ended up opening up for him. And I think just kind of like the chemistry had started. We did our set, and I was like, oh, Paul Nelson's over there, let's do this really good. And then saw his set, and we got to hang out after the show and just kind of talk some stuff. And then we brought up the record, and he's like, really? We kind of perked his interest, I would say, and it kind of snowballed from there, I'd say.
Yeah, what was it like working with Paul? I mean, where'd you guys record the album? Did you record it up in Maine?
Up in Bangor.
In Bangor, Maine.
Yeah, it's Husson University. It was NESCOM is the actual studio. It's awesome studio.
So
it's,
he
it's
went up
college
there-
up there. Yeah, he went up there. He stayed at my house. He
Oh, man.
hung out with me, and yeah, we just we got a little apartment over the garage.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he hung out there. And matter of fact, he liked it so much, he started bringing players and stuff up there. So our relationship continued way after the record. He started coming up and producing other bands and stuff up that way. The studio's great. The engineers are great, and he had a place to stay, and we had a great kind of formula that we had put together. So I just think it worked. It worked really well.
But unlike you, he came back home.
He came home.
He didn't stay.
Well, but I will tell you, he was starting to stay more and more.
He was.
And more like,
Yeah.
We had a definitive, this is what we're doing.
Right.
I think over time he probably would have maybe made his way up there. 'Cause
Right.
He was coming a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So the album. So how do you guys write? Because I was in a band, and my band was strictly kind of like 4/4 rock. So, and I'm from Chicago, so I'm I don't want to say I'm like a blues aficionado, but I have definitely a respect and appreciation for the blues. But it's such an incredible mood, incredible genre. And very specific. I mean, when people get into the blues, I mean, it's there's not a lot of it's very definitive. Once you go blues and all that, how did you guys? What was your inspiration? We'll start with you, man. How what inspired you to get into into blues as a genre of music?
Well, it's something I've been doing ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
I started taking lessons when I was 4, and
Anything particular inspire you to
my grandfather played ragtime, and so
Right.
that it's kind of like the early on
Yeah, of
before
course.
blues became blues, and so that really inspired me at a young age, and to get an opportunity to join a blues band like this is a dream come true.
I love it. How about you, man?
My dad was a blues pianist, and I grew up in church, and he kind of brought the blues to the Baptist denomination, and in the worship sessions, we'll be doing. I was just remember being really, really, really young, just like being there with the band. And,
That was kind of like
and
your
the church.
gospel.
It was my gospel.
That was
That
your
I
gospel.
associate. Yeah, I have a very close association with the two. Like I'm going to church now. Like I'm playing music. That sort of thing.
And did you
So-
start playing guitar in church?
I kind of did, yeah. He wanted me to be a piano player, and I was like, I'm just kind of mashing him, But the guitarist that was playing with him at the time, I was like, that's what's up. I like that.
That's that's how you pick up girls, right? And play guitar in church and.
Well, yeah, but
That's funny. How about you, Ren? How did you get into the blues scene?
Well, it was funny. You got a recurring theme. My father was a professional musician from like age 13. He was a drummer, and he knew a couple chords on guitar and stuff, and he showed me a couple chords or tried when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and it never took. But when I got older, I saw Back to the Future.
Trying to be good.
Yeah, right. The whole thing. And I remember I came home like, dude,
That inspired a lot of musicians.
yeah,
at one
I'm like,
scene,
today's
you
the
know?
day. Like, I'm
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this. So he starts showing me, what he's got, and he would show me like chords or whatever, and I'd run upstairs and practice, and then I'd come down and show me the next thing, and this went on for whatever, a month or so, and I'll never forget. I come downstairs one day, and I'm like, show me the next thing. And he's like, dude, that's it. I'm a
Take it from
drummer.
there.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't got anything else. And I'm like, well, what do I do? And this, of course, is before YouTube and all this stuff. And he goes, I've heard. I don't know. He was a hippie. He didn't know anything about the blues, but he goes. I've heard that if you want to be a great guitar player, go buy a bunch of blues records. And I had no idea. I remember I went to Waxy Maxie's. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I don't know how far they made it up here, but it was like a staple
Right.
down there. A record store, really cool place. And I walk in, and I went to the blues section and started grabbing. And I had no idea who anybody was.
Right.
It's not like my dad could tell me he was a hippie.
Right.
He didn't know. And literally, Freddie King, Albert Collins. Like I pulled that up.
So you
took
didn't
it
know?
home.
Did you have any idea who you were grabbing, or just you're in the blues section going?
Like blues section, this album looks cool. Like
The cover looks good.
The cover looks
Yeah.
good. And And that was it, man. It was like I never looked back. I mean, from the first time you heard those, bow, bow, bow,
Right,
bow,
right.
It's like that's it. Like the chills. There it is. I mean, and I still love all the. I love Jimmy and I love Led Zeppelin and I love all the hippie stuff.
That music back then is kind of blues influenced
too.
It
is. It absolutely is. And that's one of the things I was telling somebody the other day is like, when you listen to a lot of these modern players who will now they'll cite guys like. Bonamassa and Kenny Wayne Shepherd and that like they're young enough to where that's their guys right, but it's like those guys were listening to Freddie and BB and Albert and so it's like it all comes from that stuff. So and I knew immediately as soon as literally as soon as I heard it, I'm like there it is. Like this is the music that I'm gonna fall in love with.
I love it. Now there's different variations. Again, pleading total ignorance here, but there's different variations of blues, right? Which you guys could actually educate me. I'm just throwing, but I'm from Chicago, so people talk about the Chicago blues, but then there's also different other shades of blues, and maybe just for my edification and those who are listening, what exactly? How do you define the blues and the way you guys say it? Like, okay, we're gonna, like you were listening to Albert Collins or maybe B. King or whatever, or Buddy, and you're saying like, this is their style of blues. I want to play this style. When you guys might be saying like, oh, I'm kind of in this area. How do you guys blend all that? I mean, this sounds terrible to me. I don't want to say it all sounds the same, but maybe structurally it's kind of similar. But maybe it's the way it's written and all that. But how do you guys define that?
I mean, I think each style or mode of blues kind of was influenced by its own surroundings that it was in.
Okay.
I think that the blues kind of started as a story and a message that you could accompany with a guitar or whatever, and that people took it. And there's different places in the U.S. that have different people from different backgrounds and ethnicities, and that brought their own taste to it, such as like Cajun blues and more New Orleans and stuff like that. And then I think Chicago and Machines and Factories, I think just kind of a lot of metal hitting things and like just kind of just really straight beat kind of had an influence on that music as well.
Makes sense, yeah.
I don't know what Maine has done to us to have the blues. It's wicked
blues.
cold up there.
Just a lot of shivering going on.
Yeah, so you got the shivering blues up there. Yeah.
Just a lot of...
You'll hear it on the record.
That's so funny. So the album you guys have come out, I listened to it, and first of all, it's really freaking good.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, first of all, you guys are just great musicians, and you've got an incredible voice.
Oh, thank you so much.
You have a lot of soul. For a guy from, so you bring some of that, you still have kind of that Virginia twang to you that you brought up to Maine, right? But I mean, you bring some of that kind of that southern charm, that southern soul, that grit to blues, which really, it gives it this kind of this texture to your voice and to your sound and to your whole dynamic. Is that, how do you kind of define how you deliver your craft?
So interestingly enough, I mean, I've been playing, forever and ever. And I never really sang, and I didn't even know, and it was through necessity. Singer wasn't there, and who can sing? I'm like, I know like 3 songs, maybe. I don't know.
Give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot, and I think a lot of that just it's having, it's weird, but having not been trained, I just pull from that, right, and that's where that comes from, and it's over the years I've learned things, and I'm forever trying to get better. But as I'm moving in those directions, it's pulling me kind of away from that, and I'm trying to hold on to it because I do like it a lot. I think it fits what we do, and it seems to be a natural place for my voice to go. Where the problem is that it's not always sustainable. Like I need to pick and choose my battles instead of everything being like that. Because what'll happen? We're a very busy band, and we'll you play Thursday night, you play Friday night. We're supposed to play Saturday night, and my voice is already going.
Exactly.
Sunday night, my voice is
gone,
crashed,
and
then it's like I can't even speak till Wednesday, and then we're playing again,
right?
What do you do? I drink every stupid remedy that you could,
More whiskey.
honey and whiskey and lemons and someone was tell me to gargle milk and whatever.
Gargle milk?
I don't know. I'll do it. Whatever. Like
Whatever
I'll
it
do
takes.
any of it. Yeah, whatever
Right.
it is.
And maybe just don't talk during the day.
And I try not to do that.
Yeah.
I just like it's weird. It's a weird life because like we live
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't speak.
You don't speak. And your wife's like, awesome.
She's like, it's the greatest.
She's going, I love the blues.
Yeah, the blues. That's the greatest.
Now, if he was a Springsteen guy, this would be awesome because he wouldn't speak for like a month.
Right.
He'd just be screaming all day
Right.
long. That's great. So there's a great story behind the band name, right? And I was reading about this because the original name of your band was called Wheelhouse,
Right.
if I recall. And then you ran into kind of a little bit of a problem, and then you had to change your name. So tell that story. It's really a funny story.
Well, yeah, I was up in Maine, and I didn't know anything, and we put the band together, and it was Wheelhouse. I just thought it sounded cool, and it had a kind of a, because I where I live now is near Bar Harbor, which is like
Beautiful up there.
yeah, and Maine is vacation land, but Bar Harbor is like even more so in Maine. Like that's the spot in Maine.
Right.
So, and it's all the whole coastal thing and the Frenchman's Bay and the lobsters and the whatever. So, I was Wheelhouse. That's cool because it's the the boats and the captain's right and the thing. And we show up to I want to say it's our first gig. And there was a band there called Wheelhouse, and they were they were like legit pissed. Like they were, they had the hands across the, you know what I mean, like the
the marquee said Wheelhouse,
stance.
opening up Wheelhouse.
Yeah, and they're like staring us down, and they get into it with it. I mean, they didn't literally like start anything, but they were talking like the owner knew them. Which was weird, right? Because you would think he would have said something.
Yeah.
Right. But he didn't.
To you, at least.
Right. Like, because he knew I was new. Like, because I'm talking.
He just wanted to see a fight. They're
was
filming Roadhouse 2.
yeah.
That's what was going on.
Wheelhouse too.
Wheelhouse 2.
Yeah, and then at some there was a confusion and thing going on, and at some point someone said, for crying out loud, and I was like, you know what? That's the name right there. Like, that's who we are. Announce us as that.
And that's how you want. I love that name much better than Wheelhouse. I gotta be honest with you.
I've it's grown on me, so I think so. I like it too.
No, it just stands out.
Yeah.
I mean, like no offense to Wheelhouse, but I mean, I mean, what kind of band was Wheelhouse? Were they a blues band too, or just?
I don't know.
Or like a Kaja Goo
they
Goo
were-
cover band or something like that.
It's weird because I know some of the players in there, and they're good players. And I don't even think the band's around anymore. But
there you go.
Right. But at the time, I don't even know what they did. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Nothing.
I just knew that we had to change our name really quick because it was not going to go over well.
Yeah, I don't know what they did, but when they started singing Madonna songs, I was like, that's not what we want to be. So you, I mean, you're a jack of all trades, but you at one point, now that we're talking a little bit about comedy, maybe still are, but was a stand-up comic.
I dipped my toe in the pool.
You did. Now, in Maine or Virginia?
In Virginia.
Okay.
So
good comedy scene down there. By the way.
Yeah. So it was pretty robust. I mean, that's legit down there.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was doing a bunch of speaking engagements at the time, and I was like trying to train, right? And I was like, well, the hardest thing I can think of to do in speaking is to stand-up comedy. Like that has to be the hardest.
It's tough,
most stressful. Like I just throw me in there, right? So they had the DC Improv had this thing where they would you could take a training with them, and I don't remember how long it was, like 2 months or something along those lines. And then at the end, you have a night at the Improv.
Yeah, you do a show.
Yeah,
bring all your friends and family.
Yeah. And so I did the thing, and at the end, it's time for the show, and I've never had any like stage fright or any of that kind of stuff. In the band, like we've played some bigger stuff and medium stuff and Full House and Nobody, and those are all different levels of stress. Right? People don't realize, but when you're playing to nobody, that's just as stressful as
no doubt
playing in front of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Right. So we've dealt I'm used to all that, right? But I remember I'm in the green room. It was probably about the size of this studio that we're in. And I'm I'm alone in there, which was that was the main problem. They shouldn't have ever have left me alone, because I'm sitting there and I'm looking on the wall, right, and it's like Robin Williams.
Oh, I hate
Dave Chappelle,
right,
and Rodney Dangerfield,
right.
and Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit! Like,
I know, right?
Like, what am I doing here?
I know,
right? And then
I'm not worthy,
right? It's like
I'm not worthy.
It's very. I think they're doing it obviously to show off. Oh, here's all the greats I've been here.
Yeah,
but, dude, that's like the wrong thing.
I
like,
know.
That's for a new comic. That's
I know,
right? So then there's like this from out of the green room. You go down this hallway. It's this really skinny hallway. I'll never forget. And it was totally blacked out. And it goes right to the stage. When you get out of the hallway, you take 2 steps up and you're on the stage. And I'm walking down the hallway and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. Right. And I get to the end and I can hear the MC and next up, Brand, let's hear it for Brandon Stalin. And the place goes nuts, right? Which, by the way, is totally packed. It's completely.
Yeah, everyone brings it. Of course, everyone's bringing 10 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget this. I get to the steps. And the MC turns like, hey, and I'm going, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm shaking, but I'm doing the front chop, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going. And he just smiled. He went, yes, you are. And he reaches and he grabs me and he pulls me up. Yeah.
And how'd it go?
Well, the best part was that the lights were bright and they just hit me right in the eyes, and I couldn't see anybody.
There you go.
Yeah, but I have a video of it somewhere. I gotta find it. But I did. I killed it. I actually ended up getting a booking. There was an agent there.
Oh my god.
Who was? And they were like, oh, and when we were done, they were like, yeah, we want to.
I love it.
Have you do something?
And you're like, nah, I'd rather do blues.
Well, I probably did. I don't know, 7, 8, 10 comedy gigs.
Oh, good for you.
And then. And then I was like, I had a good whatever, that one thing.
You had a run.
And then when I was trying to write more, my heart wasn't in it.
Right. Right.
I kept picking up the guitar.
Right.
Every time right.
That's funny. First of all, and you guys brought. That's a great story, by the way. That's how we branch out. You guys brought some Maine beers. What do we got here?
Bigelow Brewing is one of the
Crack
bigger
it
ones
open.
there. Let's do
There's
it, man.
2 beers and 2 empty glasses and 3 very thirsty boys. Oh yes.
Let's get it in there.
Nice.
Glug 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 glug.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it ain't whiskey. I brought this is like, I think they do urine samples in cups like these.
Oh.
So I'm just going to give mine here to Jackson when I'm done. He could test to see if I'm pregnant. It's a boy.
Are you expecting?
Sometimes I feel that way. Yes. Once I eat Mexican food, I'm like having twins. Yeah. Tell me about your inspirations. Did you get some?
I'll
go, baby.
I'll drink out of the can.
I'm always fascinated about the writing process of music, right? Because I was in my band, I was the sole singer songwriter. Like here's the songs. They'd be like, oh, okay, cool. How do you guys operate as a band when you're writing? Who does most of the writing, or do you guys get in rooms and toss out ideas, or how does it work?
I mean, I think it's gonna vary from band to band. Even on a personal level, you're gonna write a certain way. You get together with cheers. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think we found a formula that works, kind of like this beer.
Yes.
A little bit. It's like there's a certain flavor you're going for, a certain combination of ingredients, as you would. So with this last album, Brandon wrote most of it. He wrote. He's writing the lyrics, all the lyrics,
right?
Except for the one that your dad had written in
Oh, really?
The 70s, yeah.
Oh, it's kind of you kind of resurrected your dad.
My father wrote one of the Moonshine Lover on there.
Oh, no way!
And he wrote that one back in the 70s, and I rewrote some of the verses to modernize it a little bit, make it about me versus about him.
When he's talking about the Pinto and the
right, right, that kind of thing. Like we need to bring it up just a touch.
BMW,
and but all the form was the same. It was his chorus and his all the forms and all that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
So so in blues, do you like when you're writing? Are you just going lyrics? Are you structuring it out musically at the same time, or how?
Well, so like you alluded to earlier, like the form of blues is pretty, that 1-4-5 thing, right. But there's a lot of variance on that you can do, and what I found with this record was that every every song was a little bit different. Like I had all the experiences. I had the one that one of them I wrote in no music, just wrote it with a cigar at the cigar shop in the chair, literally on my phone, just
really
tap 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 tap, like it. Other ones I agonized over for months, trying to. I had the
pretty cool.
Yeah, I had to jump out of the shower, like oh my god, and write that down, or I'd be cooking and stop everything and run and do the thing. So I had all of those experiences in writing it. But what Ben was talking about, the formula that I think we created was, I would come to Ben with, here's the song, here's the 70%, like this is the general form, here's the lyrics, here's what's going on, here's the chorus, and Ben would take it and what I would describe as add color. Right. He would make some changes, like, oh, this needs a bridge, or we need to do a thing here. This intro is whatever. But he would start focusing on intros, outros, stops, and all this color that I find, right, as a player, when I see or have those things, it gives me as a player things to grab onto. So what he's putting on there is stuff for the rhythm section to grab onto, right?
Oh, interesting.
So it goes from me to Ben, and then Ben puts the stuff, and it's you can see it starting to take shape now. Now it's real, and then we go to the rhythm section, and they'll put the final touch. And by final touches, sometimes there's major changes, because rhythmically it doesn't jive with whatever they're. But that's the path that gets us there. And that seems to be what we're looking to do for the second record. Like that was, you mentioned, Paul Nelson, that was one of the things he told me. He's like, we've created a formula and we need to stick with this.
Got it.
Going forward.
Got it. There's a song that I loved, You Can Dance to the Blues, which it was almost like swing. It was almost like Stray Catsy in a way. Very different from the other songs on the album. How did that? Which I loved. It was so different. Tell me about that song.
Ben wrote the horn parts on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't play the horns, so that's
is
extra
that keyboard
impressive.
or you just hired
He
some?
did it on guitar. He
Oh, that's your guitar
well,
making that song?
no.
Oh,
we had horn players play.
Oh, okay.
But Ben
I was like, you are
wrote-
good, man.
Ben wrote
Check out
those
this
parts.
trumpet on the E string. Like he's good.
Right.
How'd that? I mean, that's a really different kind of. What kind of threw you in that direction? Because that song is really cool, though.
Brandon wrote the lyrics. There's a story behind that song with people never really hearing the blues before, and coming to one of our shows and like, well, can you dance to it? What is it? Can I dance to it? And we're like, yes. The answer is yes.
Yes,
and it's
you
a
can.
fun time,
Yes.
And when Brandon was showing me the song, it reminded me of some big band stuff that
It's
I
a
had
big band sound.
Exactly.
Totally.
Totally. And so
Yeah.
that kind of thing just sort of like, oh, there we go. And what's cool about making a record and all that is that we can you can hire and you can bring in horns. You can you can put all these things together and make it exactly the way that you envision it. And that's kind of what we did with it.
I love it.
It's one of my favorite. I mean, they're all my favorites.
That's
I'm gonna say that.
I know you're not Sophie choicing the album, but
yeah.
that's a really.
Yeah.
It's a very different song from their
It
other
is,
songs in the album,
yeah.
and it stood out. I was like, it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's a great sound. It's a great sound. So what? Now you're brand new to the band, right?
I am. I just joined 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Something like that, and we've already played
a ton of gigs.
like
Ton of gigs.
40 gigs probably.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We didn't even rehearse. I heard him play. I'm like, yep, I can already tell. And he just came in and just started playing with us.
Right. Now, do you this is a terrible question to ask, but did you have any idea what you were doing? I mean, you obviously know you're a professional, you're a musician, all that, but so you meet these guys and all that, and you listen to music and all that. Did you kind of were you playing the part, or you're like, I'm just going to add my stuff?
So when Brandon first reached out to me, I listened to like all of the stuff that they do, and I was like, okay, what can I add to this without taking away from what they're already doing?
Just turn it up.
Yeah, well, if all else fails, but no,
I can't hear myself. No, that's the point. Yeah. That's why we do this.
But it's about finding your place, like what you can add to without being too much.
Right. Now, is your keyboard set up? Is it piano? Is it keys? Are you doing like kind of spreading out? Like you're doing.
So for the video we just shot, it was pretty cool. I had the double stack.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had the organ going up top and the
chicks
keys
dig
down
that.
bottom.
Chicks dig that.
But yeah, so that was really cool. Just being able to use the different sounds and have different things going on at the same time.
That's very cool. And you guys like him? He's staying, right?
He's great. He's great. I mean, he's a great fit musically.
Yeah.
But he's just also fun to hang out with and just a good dude. So we're happy all the way around.
And his girlfriend is your booking agent.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you treat him right, man.
Right.
Because if he leaves. You lose your booking agent.
I don't know.
Or maybe not.
Goes, maybe not. She's locked
going,
in.
no, I'm sticking it out. No, this is cool. This is good. Oh, this is good. It's so cool to have you guys on the show, man. I mean, and you guys are playing out a ton. Now, I looked at your schedule. You're playing out a ton.
We are. Yeah.
You're playing out, now you're playing a lot in. I mean, there's a lot of clubs in Maine. I mean, you're playing a lot in Maine. Are you starting to tell me where else are you going? Are you starting to branch out and start heading towards Chi-Town eventually, or heading down south?
So part of this, what we're doing up here with the video shoots and all that is to get us prepared. With these EPK kits to start touring in 2025. And it's unfortunate, with what happened with Paul Nelson, but we were supposed to go do some of that with him. We were going to open for him and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to kind of just make moves in those directions anyway. And so the answer to the question is yes. We're going to start heavy in 2025, branching outside of Maine.
I love it. You have a good booking agent?
I do. I think she's the one.
No pressure. No pressure whatsoever.
Well, so I tell you a little something about that, which is interesting. Is Paul would tell me all these stories about how just some of the more unusual things that people did to make it.
Right.
Right. And what I got from that was this tenacity, and what happened is as we're starting this journey, right? It's a catch-22, and an agent wants you to be at a certain level of success before they take you on, right? But you can't be at that level of success without an agent, right? So we're like, okay, I was just kind of going. I could just hear Paul in my head. He's like, dude, just get your own. Just create your own. And so we started, I talked to Rose about it. She's very, she's just a very big fan of the band, obviously fan of Matt.
Yeah, helps.
And so
it's not
she
like
was
Fleetwood
like,
Mac, right?
She's like, you know what, man, that'd be great. I've got a place in here too. So she took to it right away, and she's already having success. So and Pilot Light has helped. They've been able to get with her and show her a couple things and help her along. But she's tenacious, and she's been after it, and she's already getting responses.
There you go.
Yeah, and we're going to give her the tools. That's what we're here for this week.
Yeah,
give her the tools.
Oh, this show is going to launch you guys, man.
I feel it.
You could go worldwide.
I feel it.
Bangor. Everything, all points east of Bangor.
Yeah, all points east of Bangor, right?
Yeah. So, did you bring Rose with you, or Rose came and then you? How did the?
So we've been together for 5 years now.
Oh, okay.
And she's been a huge supporter of my last band. And
was she your book agent there too?
No, actually, no, she wasn't. But
right.
she kind of just took over, being the booking agent, and she's been, like he said, doing a great job at it so far. And
all right,
but
all right,
girlfriend comes first.
Always. Yeah. As soon as she leaves the room, no, actually, the booking comes first. All right. So part of the show is at the end of the show, I have this thing called repeat offenders. Okay. and where I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
We've already won.
Yes, exactly. Yes, looking at you guys, I can see I've seen your faces on the post office walls, and congratulations, you made it. You guys are pros. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll ask all three of you guys because it's first thing that comes to your mind, right? I mean, it's not challenging. I'm not asking like DNA questions and all that, although I should. Okay, so here we go. Now, you talking to the mic, all right, Matt?
All right,
when I tell you. All right, here we go. We're going to go around. We'll start here with Brendan here.
No, start with Matt. All right.
Start with Matt. All right, anyone. All right, here we go. If you can invite anyone over to your house for dinner, dead or alive, who would it be? Brendan.
Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy.
And he's skinny. He doesn't eat a lot, so.
He does not. He does not eat a lot, which means...
More for me.
Did he drink whiskey? That's a question.
Yeah, I'm sure
He probably did.
I'm sure
Right,
he did.
All right, man. What do you got, man?
Well, it's funny. I've heard it kind of differently. I was like, who would you have over for dinner? And I'll be like, oh, Gordon Ramsay, because like he would make me a good dinner. I was like, oh, you're talking about someone to talk to.
Yes. No, maybe he makes it and then you talk about it. It's totally fine.
I wouldn't want to talk to him after.
Nah, he seems like me.
Very
Is that your guy? You want Gordon Ramsay to come over?
No, now that I'm thinking about it, no, there's no way. There's no way.
Anyone in particular?
I mean, of course, Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy.
Yeah,
absolutely, for
All right,
sure.
let's go there. Matt, what do you got?
You
might as well go with Rose. So.
Well, I felt inclined to go with
Otherwise, you're
Rose.
losing
You said
Rose,
dead or alive, so
alive. Okay, after Rose,
I would say Ray Charles.
Nice.
He was a big influence on my playing, and so I would love to get a chance to sit down and talk with Ray Charles.
Good for you. That's a great one. Okay, question number 2. And then we'll start Matt and go that way. If you could tour with any musician, dead or alive, who would it be? I mean, you could go back again.
Man, well, I mean, again, I'm inclined to say "Crying Out Loud." I'm inclined to say that.
Wish.
That's what I'm saying.
Big points there.
Okay.
But no, I'm named Henley, for a reason. I love
Henley.
Yeah, I love the Eagles, and a chance to tour with them would be pretty cool.
Okay. Well, they're still touring.
They are. They're finishing up this year, I believe.
Hell has not frozen over yet.
Not quite.
So, Ben, how about you, brother?
It's tough, man. I mean, I've always pictured like the scene of like Muddy Waters and like those kind of like earlier on sort of blues gigs and stuff like that, and people just kind of going wild over hearing it. But then I'm like thinking of, well, why wouldn't you want to play like an arena or something though too, with like Leonard Skinner or something like that would be kind of nice too. So
all right,
maybe one of those.
Okay.
I think I have to go Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, there we
just
go.
on debauchery alone.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Be a lot of cigars and whiskey.
A lot of that going on.
A lot of that and other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, this is kind of a funky question. If you were a ghost, who would you spend the most time haunting? Please don't say Rose. Okay. I want to see you guys have a succceessful tour.
Yeah,
let's start with you. I need a drink.
Oh God, I need a smoke. Jeez, I don't know, man.
A lot of people out there you could haunt.
I don't know. Like,
all right. Well,
my sister.
Your sister.
She deserves it.
She deserves it. I love it. Ben, you haunted her sister too, or what do you do?
No, I don't have a sister though. I don't know. I mean, it would have to be kind of fun, right? I mean, it would have to be a fun experience. Like, yes. I would haunt somebody like Jim Carrey or something like that.
There you go.
To see it would just like to see his reaction.
Just see if it startles him.
Yeah,
that's good. Brandon, what about you, man?
Matt's sister, right? She sounds great.
All right, all three of us are gonna haunt your sister.
Okay, perfect.
I think I need to get your sister on the show.
All right, yeah, we'll get her on.
I got bad news for you. When don't go in your closet. You're gonna see a couple guys you know, and it's not gonna be pretty. All right, here we go. If a genie gave you one wish, what would you wish for? Aside from Rose, of course.
3 more wishes. That's the standard.
That's always the standard one.
Yeah.
No, I love the people who go one more wish. And you're like, okay, we get that other wish, but then you got to wish for that wish again. So it's just you're gonna
you keep going.
Maybe go 2 wishes.
Right.
Anything in particular you'd wish for? I mean, world peace is boring.
Yeah, it's literally. I'm not even thinking that way. Right,
like that's gonna happen.
Access to great cigars for everyone.
There you go.
Right? That's what I would want. Access to fine cigars for everyone.
You're a big cigar aficionado.
I try.
You try. Do you go Cubanos? I mean, you trying to hunt them down or?
They're not as now that they're legal, right?
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Not a cigar smoker. Yeah, I did not know that. Okay.
They've been about 10 years.
Oh, right.
Maybe 12, 10, 12 years. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But no, I love Cubans. They're great. I like Dominicans the most.
Ah,
those are my favorite.
That's racist.
I know.
It's a comedy show. We got to go there.
Right.
What about you, man?
All right, well, I'll say this. I'll do this for everyone. I would wish for a second.
You'd wish for his sister.
I said I'll do it for. Maybe I'll do it for everyone.
After the haunting.
After the haunting. I'd say I'm gonna. Let's make a second Crying Out Loud album a thing.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Which is going to happen, right?
Right, that's why I didn't wish
it's
for
gonna
it, because
happen
that's
now.
already going to happen, right?
That's like being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. It's like if you do wish for it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Right.
Okay, that's good. Well, I think that wish is going to come true. I'm
Thank
feeling
you.
good about that. How about you?
I'm right along the same lines. I'm really hoping that we have a super successful and fun tour in 2025.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be great. That wish is coming true, man. That wish is coming true. All right, last question. This one's fun. If you had to wear a sign around your neck for the rest of your life, what the heck would it say?
That's a good question.
I'm with her.
Oh my gosh! With the arrow pointing to her. Okay, just make sure she always walks on the right hand side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm standing next to Ben, it doesn't work the same. But,
He looks good in drag. He looks fantastic. He's got long hair.
He does.
Great. He does.
It is pretty luscious.
It's luscious. What about you, man?
I don't know. That's a good one, man. I mean, I would
could
try to mess with someone and look up or something. Look at the other sign or something. It would be kind of fun. Try to mess with somebody somehow.
Or an arrow pointing down that says "just kidding."
Yeah.
Slippery when wet.
There we go. It's something to mess with people somehow.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh my God. I got nothing. A sign that I had
That's
to
a good
wear.
sign.
Come back with a warrant.
That's a good one. That's good.
Very apropos.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Actually, guys, I'm thinking have a very successful 2025 after listening to that one.
Yeah, right?
He's got some haunting in the closet that he's got to tell you guys about. Well, this was a ton of fun, man. Thank you guys so much.
It was great. It's a blast.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks for being on the show, Rose. You contributed. You listened. You sat in. You were a hit.
I guess so.
Yeah. No pressure on you, but it's up to you.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, that's right. You're only as good. You're as good as you sound, but then in music, you're as good as how you look in front of other people.
Right.
So, well, best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
We got Matt, Ben, Brandon. Best of luck. Crying Out Loud from Maine. Some from Virginia.
Right.
Now all from Maine.
And
now we got Rose. Who's with him. And this has been another edition, another show of Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin. That's me, John Malkin, and we are out of here.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin. Make sure to follow John on social media at John Malkin Live. See you next time, and don't forget to think while you laugh.